Hey everybody, welcome to this month's blog. I'm Meaghan Jansen with Employee Wellness Solutions Network, and I wanted to talk this month all about how we can adjust or enable our wellness programs to ensure that we are also focusing on our aging workforce. Um, when we start thinking about the aging workforce, granted, every organization is aging, we really need to start ensuring our focus is on being as proactive as possible. This message is not new. The best wellness programs are on prevention, being proactive, promotion, and this is where we're going to land today's message is really all about what we can ensure we're doing for a proactive approach. They tend to work much better than a reactive approach. And specifically, when we start talking about our aging workforce, this becomes absolutely true. Um, we think about an aging workforce and a wellness program that supports these individuals. We want to think inclusive, personalized, preventative, and holistic. Now, I want to take us through five different things to consider when it comes to focusing in on our aging demographic. And the first one goes without saying is always about promoting physical activity. And this is something that we're seeing more and more in some of the research on how physical activity absolutely can affect some chronic disease management. We're going to be linking an article here from Benefits Canada, but they talked about how an article came in through the World Economic Forum, how physical activity um, is said to be able to prevent 8.5 million cases of type 2 diabetes. That translates into $120 billion worldwide when it comes to productivity gains. The research is there. We have to focus on movement and physical activity. It doesn't matter how old we are. That becomes important. What can our wellness programs do and include? They can include some health screening opportunities, know your numbers. Valuable intake, valuable insight can be helpful with that. Focusing in on exercise promotion, things like strength, flexibility, balance programs, yoga, tai chi, Pilates, those sort of things can be resonate really well with our aging bodies. And so those are helpful. Another element for physical health is women's health. We're finding more and more information in the research about the focus on perimenopausal and menopausal women. Every workforce has us, and a wellness program very well can ensure that we have some focus in on women's health. The second category, of course, is mental health, specifically in an aging workforce and looking at a sandwich generation where we're caring not only for our children, but we're also caring for our ailing parents and our elderly care, looking at elder care. So there's a definite increased stress with that when it comes to caregiving, possibly retirement planning and general health concerns when it comes to mental health. So a few things to consider. Reiterate the EAP program opportunities, mental health, emotional self-care training all around stress and resiliency and things like even self-talk. When we are laden with stress, it makes things much more difficult. So our focus can absolutely be on some coping strategies when it comes to stress and our mental wellness. Third is healthy habits. Every wellness program, when it comes to our well-being and our focusing in on employee well-being, should have a focus on healthy habits for longevity and long-term health. Things can creep up, as we know, and the more we can focus in on our health now, the less hopefully sick and ill we'll be when we age. Focusing in on some fun physical activity challenges, again, that focus on movement, sleep health, social connections, relationships, some really interesting things that we're seeing in the workforces that do focus in on these elements of well-being. Fourth category, back to this caregiver responsibility. Maybe there's an opportunity to instigate some support groups. There's more than a couple people that deal with this, and maybe there's an opportunity to have a peer support group for caregiver responsibilities. Maybe there's an opportunity to have a resource guide or a space dedicated to elder care or caregiving responsibilities, period. And this support group and peer support group can be helpful just to bounce ideas and resources off of one another. Lastly, I mean, there's so many different things we can talk about, but just to keep this short and sweet, the fifth one is injury prevention. We know as we age, we're likely, you know, we will start to see maybe more cases in injury on time off work. So let's start talking about it right now. How do we prevent injury? We do find this to be one of the more important things when it comes to an aging population. And things like safe lifting, safe movement. You can even look at a calendar year and come up with different strategies for your seasons. Maybe there's something around wintertime, maybe there's something around summertime, and that can be a focus for for the organization. Another one that is goes without saying is stretch breaks, movement breaks. Work these into a safety meeting or a staff meeting, or even if there's wellness ambassadors on site or a wellness um, committee member on site, maybe there can be dedicated times before work, middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, just to get up and do some stretching. It can be really, really helpful for focus. Can be helpful for, general well-being, injury prevention as well. Um, when someone does go off work, really looking at some return to work accommodation and support, schedule flexibility, etc. Those go without saying, but as we are, talking about an aging workforce and an aging population, these become more and more important. And as I said right off the hop, every organization's aging. It doesn't matter what industry, where we are. That's why we really, again, start to reiterate the potential for employee and workplace well-being programs to focus on proactive, being preventative, and promote. And those three P's go a long way when it comes to supporting our aging workforces in this demographic. Hope you found that helpful, and hopefully there was at least one nugget that you're willing to consider to add to or improve your wellness program to ensure that it is inclusive, focuses on personalization, preventative, and holistic. Hope you have a great day.